Good morning, everyone. We will start in another minute. I have shared the last file link with you. Last file link with you. Today we will work on time intelligence. Let me share my screen. If you have some question from the last class, you can post it. Hopefully you have completely done with the calendar 444, 445, and you would have also created ranks on those. So there are a few important things which we need to do for time intelligence. So what we need to do there is basically, first of all, we need to have a date table marked as a date table. Okay. And that should be joined with our fact table. So now we have created a few calendar tables here, our date tables, but only the one which is joined right now is the date table. This is the one which has been joined with the uh, sales table, and we can go ahead and check this join. So first thing, let's check it out, the join. So we have one too many single directional join with the date table. So first thing, we are ensuring that the join is there. It's a single directional join. Bidirectional join would also cause the dates in the date table to filter when there is a sales date not available. In that case also you might face an issue like non-continuous dates are there. So that's why we do not prefer bidirectional join. Second thing which we have to check is we have to go to the date table. So we go to the data tab. In the data tab, we will go to our sales date. And right now, look at the sales date. It is not in a format where you can see the timestamp. The thing which you need to make sure is make it as a date time and take a format with time. You should not have any other timestamp than 12 a.m. Now, other than 12 a.m., if you have a timestamp, it means your date has actually timestamp, and this join is going to fail when you're going to join it with the date table. So this is the second thing you need to make sure. If you have such a column where you have this one, so let me take an example. Let me create a sales date new here first of all for you and show you how the timestamp will look like. And let me take sales date plus, and this is the way how you can add time to a date 2 comma 0 comma 0. So it should become 2 p.m. 2 a.m. So now you see there is a 2 a.m. Now when you join this is because it is 2 a.m. It's not going to join correctly with date. Even if I change it to date time to date, from date time to date, this is not showing me right now, but it has a timestamp. So what I need to do to remove that timestamp, I need to make sure that I only take the date value from it. So let me change the format and continue with one more column. So I'm going to create one more column here to explain you how to remove the timestamp. So I'm going to, if you have clicked on any column, you are seeing the column tool or the table tool, you will get an option for new column. Click on a new column, and in that new column you will say, let me call it date sales, and these columns are not needed, so I'm going to remove them later. You have a function date value, and here we will say sales date new. Now you see there is no timestamp. Now again we are only taking the date value. So either you do this correction in the Power Query, or you come and do this correction in DAX by creating a new column only with the date value. Your date should not have a timestamp. So right now our date doesn't have a timestamp, so we are able to join it on sales date. Otherwise, this date sales is the column when you have a timestamp, which should join with the date table. So we have made sure that this is also correct. Now the next thing which we need to make sure that date table is marked as a date table. That is going to make sure that the time intelligence works properly. So we right click here and we say mark as date table. It is already marked as a date table. So we can go and look at the date table setting. So date is the column on which it has been marked. We need to make sure that our other tables are joining on date. Now sometimes what happens is you might have a data at the month level. Now, when you have the data at the month level, you would say, okay, can I join month start date? No, you don't have to join with month start date or month year. Create a date and join that with the date only, because that is going to make sure that there is a single value on this side which is doing. Now, there are techniques when you can deal with the month and distribute the values also. So look for my blogs on those things. So we have made sure the date table is also marked as a date table. So everything is correct with us. Now, one more thing which we need to make sure, which we are going to do while creating the visuals, is that we have to use the columns from the date table. So when we do the time intelligence, we have to use the columns from the date table on the axis or on the rows or columns or legends. So we have to use it from there. So that is going to ensure that your time intelligence is working correctly. Now, while we have made sure the setup is correct, the next thing which we need to make sure is uh, we use some time intelligence functions and properly get the output. Now let's look at the date range of our date table, which the another thing which we have to make sure. So my date table right now is from 2018 to 2021. We have to make sure that all the tables which are joining with the date table, they are covered in this date range. Otherwise, extend it. And the way to check it, let me make one change here and show you what happens when you don't have all the mapping dates. So I go to the date table, and we know we have data from 2018, but let me make it 2020 for time being. Let me go ahead and plot it against date. Okay, and let me bring in my major net. Now you start seeing a blank out here. Whenever you see blank in any relationship, that means that the dimension side of the world is missing some values which is there on the fact. Power BI in that case creates a right join or prefer to give all the data from the many side even if the dimension side is not having the value. So now if you are seeing these things, then it means there is something wrong. So we need to go ahead and correct our date table. So, and we have few date tables. Please remember the date is the one which we are using, which is already connected with our table. If you want to use something like non-standard calendar or 444 calendar, make sure those tables are joined with the date which we are planning to use. If anyone have a question right now, they can ask from this class or from the last class. Now we have made sure these things. And one more thing, like in case you bring in a date table and you found that it is not making it a date table and calling there are certain duplicates. So how do you check which thing is duplicate? So to check what is duplicate, let's say you brought this table from the database and it's not making it on one side and saying you have a duplicate or something. First of all, there should not be any blank value. So when I put it either on sort ascending or descending, somewhere I should got my blank value on the top. So there is no blank value. I sorted it ascending and descending. So blank value is not there. Null value or blank value is not accepted on the one side. Okay, one to manager. Second is all the dates are here. I again drag this date. Now, once I drag this date, I make it as a count. Do not make it count distinct. Make it as a count. And try to sort it again on the count. In the descending, it should not have any 2 on the top, or you can go and filter on the count of date greater than 1. So you should not get any record. So this is going to make sure that the mapping is correct, one to many, or the one side doesn't have any duplicate. And this is not only true with the date table, this is also true with any other dimension table where you have a doubt that my dimension do not have unique values. So you can go ahead and check in this particular manner and make sure there is no duplicates value on the dimension side. Now, the dimension side of the verification is been done. We know we have all the dates. We know that our date table is correctly marked as date table. Our fact table doesn't have a timestamp. We are ready to go ahead with time intelligence. So the first function which we are going to learn is Datesmtd. We have Totalmtd and Datesmtd, which we can use. And for one instance, we are going to use both of them and tell you a little bit of difference. We'll start with the Datesmtd and tell you the difference, little bit of difference in the syntax with Totalmtd. So I click on the major table and I say I want to create a new major. I'm going to take the advantage of already created majors like net. So let me create net MTD. What is MTD? Month till date. So month till date means that if I'm starting from the first of the month and I'm standing on, let's say, second date, so then it should, the second date of the month should be sum of first and second. The first date is only sum of first, second is sum of first and second, third is sum of first, second and third. Until the month ended, this will keep on happening. At the next month start date, again it will reset. So the scope of the MTD is only till the month level. It is a cumulative inside a month. So with the date it will increase. Okay, so let's try this out. Calculate net dates MTD. Now in case because of some reason you have used use relationship for inactive join, first make sure that you create a major with that inactive join, means using use relationship, and you use that particular major inside the Datesmtd. So do that first. Okay, we want to use date table and date. So Datesmtd required only one parameter. See, it's only requiring one parameter, which is dates. It requires continuous dates. It's not asking you for like a date range, or it's not asking for another parameters, only asking for a dates. So the date from the date tables which we are going to provide. Now let me drag it here. Now our data is starting from 13th of October in the first case. So on this date, it is going to be this, and then it's going to add it up. on the second date. On the third date, addition of 3. And keep on going till the last date of the month. And next month is going to reset. Similarly, when we came to 1st January or 1st December, there you will see a reset. So this is month till date for you. Let me give you this formula, and if you have any questions, you can ping it in the chat window. So you don't have to wait for my topic to complete because there could be a delay in the streaming. So you can keep on posting your questions while I am doing this, and I will try to answer those whenever I am taking a small break between the topics to check your questions. Now, there is another method we talked about, Totalmtd. So let's try the same stuff with Totalmtd. There's no difference in the output, the difference in the syntax. Now let's try netmtd one is Totalmtd. Now Totalmtd is kind of a calculate kind of expression where you can give expression, first argument, date, and filter. You don't need a calculate for that. But if you require additional filters, you can always use calculate on top of it. And Datesmtd is one thing which you have to use inside the calculator. That's the main difference. Now when you do time intelligence, don't try to mix up the time intelligence one inside another one. Okay, you taken an mtd and then trying to do something else with that might not work out well. Make sure that you understand the meaning of that nesting up, and then only use it. So we are going to use net, and I'm not using here netmtd, I'm using net here. And then we need date of date, the second argument. Third argument, filter, as of now we don't need, so we are going to leave it like this. And we drag it here. Okay, the same output is shown here. Now when we have taken that mtd, now what happens on the last day of the month? Is it going to show the sum, or is it going to show the amount on the last date? So let's drag month year here, and along with month year, let's drag mtd. Now when you use month here, it is always going to show you the month and dates value. Now mtd takes the last date, and we are going to do one more example where we are going to show you how mtd takes the last date. We are going to prove that to you. Now last date, so it's not going to be summing up those mtd again and again. So it's just the last date mtds, and last date mtd is as good as the month value. So when you are using month here and you are using mtd, it is as good as saying this is my month value. And if you need any filter, if you want to force something, like if you take month and you say no, this is till today is 7th of February and I want last month till 7th, no, because the month context has been given and you are not passing 7th, then it will not restrict it on 7th, then it might take even if the future data is there. So the context of the month has been passed here in all these cases. Now here one thing is there that we have all these dates available, and it is able to get a date, and based on that it is able to decide mtd. What happens when we don't pass a date? Let's say even we don't have a slicer, then how it is going to behave? So first of all, let's create a new page. Below there is an option to create a new page. I clicked on that, and while I'm doing rest of the stuff, let me also give you the second formula here for you to try out. Now let me go ahead and create a card visual. On this card visual, I'm going to drag my netmtd. No slicer, no filter, blank. Why? Is netmtd not working? Okay, let's take a month here. Month here from the date table. That's the table we have joined right now. So we bring in month here. We make a slicer out of it. And we go ahead and say, okay, March 2020, we got the data. Okay, October 2020, we got the data. November, we don't have. Which date is it taking? How do we make sure without slicer can we get this value? Now, without slicer is something which is topic which we also need to look at the default date phenomena. But is there any other way I can know that, how it is deciding when the slicer is not there, which date it is taking? I'm going to do a small change in my date table to tell you what exactly it is taking. And my claim is that it is taking the last date from the calendar to build up its MTD. So what I'm going to do here is, instead of this one, I'm going to write down here max of sales date. This is what I'm writing down here. Now, there is no slicer filter here. Let me filter it out and let me even delete it. 7,000 is the value, 7.1.7K. Let's go back here. Let's scroll down. 7.17K is the value which we were getting here also. So whenever you are not passing any value, Datesmtd goes till the last value and take that particular value of the date, and from there it builds up its MTD. Same is true for Datesqtd, Datesytd. They are going to take up the last date. Don't take decision for any other thing which we are talking about time intelligence. There are previous month, previous year, they are going to behave a little bit different. So remember this, that this one has taken the last date and has given us a value, and we have changed our calendar. So now if you want that, you don't want to select, you don't want to do that initialization, and still you want your calendar to look at the current month data. So either you create the major based on today, or you make sure your calendar is getting restricted. Now, restricting a calendar till this month and till today could be little bit challenging if you are working on a project where you have budgets and targets which are even there in future. But if that is something that can happen, it means you have an opportunity without using any filter, just using time intelligence. You can use these Datesmtd, Datesqtd, Datesytd and get these things filtered just by using the correct calendar. Okay, so we have done MTD. The next item which we need to take is QTD, and I'll see if there are any questions in between there. I don't see any questions, so we'll continue. Meanwhile, those who are practicing with us can go ahead and try this out. Let me name this page as MTD because we need to come back to this page. Let's duplicate this and call that as QTD, because we'll come back here on this page for prior value. Now we got net MTD. Now let's create net QTD. Calculate net. I'm not taking MTD here. I'm taking only net here. It's QTD. date from date table. Now the reset would happen at the quarter end. Right now we are following a standard quarter, and Datesqtd don't take a second argument of year. Now there is a idea for that to support that, and you can go ahead and vote for that. This is really important that we can have a quarter which can start in February, which can end in April, all those kind of things supported. Right now we have Datesmtd, which is supported by using end date of any month, that we can have any start of year, but not the QTD. So we need that for QTD. Now what would happen in this case is, again, the standard quarter start from January, April, July and October. So this is October running, so it should go ahead and reset on 1st January. So till December you will see the values keep on aggregating, and on the 1st January this value will reset. Then again it will keep on increasing. It's not going to reset on 1st February just like your MTD, but it will continue to grow till 31st March. On 31st March is going to give you the quarter value, and on 1st April it's going to reset. Same way it will keep on going. So this is quarter for you. Now I'll give you this formula, and we will discuss about one more thing. What happens when I don't use the date from the date table? I'm doing the time intelligence, I'm passing the date. What happens when I don't use it? So let's say, okay, fine. What's the harm in using the sales date itself? Sales date, we bring in net, and we bring in net MTD. It's not the same thing. Okay, maybe MTD did not work, maybe QTD worked properly. Let's try QTD. And don't worry about the locations of those. That's also not working. That's why we say, whenever you are doing the time intelligence stuff, or whenever you're using time intelligence, then you have to use date from the date table in the visual to get the correct display time. And this is also important. Let's say you have more than one table, then those tables are going to share the same common date from the date table. So we have to use date from the date table, the common date table, not the one from the table itself. Now there would be scenarios where we can use the combination of these in certain specific need, but for time intelligence, make sure that you are using date table, and in the visuals you are using dates from the date table. So we are done with MTD. Let's look for any questions. I don't see any questions. So the next thing which we are going to try out is YTD. Let me duplicate this page. And you would have noticed, in case of the month, these values just add up on the month, and then you see the reset again on the quarter start date in this one. Now what is YTD? YTD is cumulative till the year and date. So from the 1st January, even if you start from the middle, whatever data is available, that data will get cumulative till the next date. So if I don't have data, let's say from 1st January to 13th October, I will not get any data for that. But from 13th October onwards, I'll get data. But that data is not sum of only 13th October. I have complete date available to submit from 1st January. I don't have data, so that's why it's not going to add up. So till 31st December, it will keep on adding. You will say the same as quarter. No. In the next year, it will not reset on the quarter. It will go till the 31st December 2021 or 2020 or 2019, whatever is the year. At the end of the year, till 31st, it will aggregate. Next year, 1st January, it is going to reset. So now we are going to try out YTD, year till date. So from the start of the year till that date. Now year till date, we have a variation. because we have an end date available, and we are going to explore that also. That for that I don't need a financial calendar. As long as I am able to use Datesqtd, I don't need a financial year. I'm not dependent on a financial year. We will see that opportunity also. So let's go ahead and create a measure sales YTD. Calculate net. We are going to call it net YTD. Calculate net dates YTD. Now dates YTD can take two arguments. One is the date and second is year end date. If you don't give year end date, it is standard color calendar year end date. So first I'm going to give date of date, and I'm not using other calendars which are not joined. That's not going to make anything for me. Okay. So now let's quickly add these up, and we will remove something which are not needed. So let's add. So YTD, let's understand this behavior easily here. So in the January, it is going to reset, and after January, it is going to continue till December. It is continuously adding, and in the next January, it is going to reset here. Now bring it here. You will see they together go till 31st and will get reset also, because quarter is also ending, year is also ending, but not now. It will continue. It will not get reset on 1st April. It is still going to add the value here. It's not QTD, it's YTD. Until 31st December, the values will keep on getting added, and we will reach 1st January where we will get this thing. Okay. So YTD, basically year till date. So data will keep on adding till that date of the year which is available from the start of the year. Now start of the year in dates YTD is little bit flexible, and we have to check that flexibility. But before that, try this out. Let me rename it in between. While you are trying it out, you're asking your questions. Little bit of cleanup. I don't see any questions. So let's see. Let's jump on to the next thing, which is basically how do we use this year and date here? How can we get a YTD, which is FY? In our case, the financial year ends on 31st March. Now, it takes end date. It doesn't mean that it is going to start in the reverse manner. It's going to start from 1st April. It could ask either the start date or the end date. So it is asking for end date. It doesn't matter. It could have asked for start date. So this is the same calculation, YTD, net YTD, FY I'm going to call it. Here, the only difference which I'm going to make is I copy pasted the formula. Is in the dates YTD, I'm going to give a new parameter, which is year end date, which I'm going to see 331. You only need to be careful about the format which is supported when you are using a date lesser than 12. Okay. Most of the other time it's going to work out in both formats. Now, how it is different from this one. So let's drag it here first of all, so that we can easily understand. Now my financial year is ending on 31st. So my cumulative will end up in March. So reset will happen in April. So you see these values are adding up. While there is a reset in the normal YTD on the January, there is no reset here. The value continue to add. This value got the value of net also. So let me drag a net also here so that you understand what value is getting added. So the value here is also getting added, and then keep on adding and till this place, and then there is a reset out here. Now there is no reset here in the April, because this year is running from Jan to December. Now it will continue to run, and there will be no reset again in the next January. The March is going to be reset, but this one is going to reset in January. So you can take any date of your choice and try that out. Financial year, only if you need to deal with YTD, you can use dates YTD, total YTD, and deal with it. You don't need to do too many modification with your calendar for that. Let me give you the formula. Okay, so you have seen MTD, QTD, YTD, and day is something like you display at the day level, you have a day available. We will talk about prior first, last period first, and then we will come back and talk about week, because week we don't have a function available. We have to do our own time intelligence, and week will set up a format for us using which we can do a time intelligence for all custom periods, whether it is 444, the financial year which is started on different date. So we will create a framework using the rank, and the same framework we will repeat at all other places, and we are going to get week intelligence, custom period intelligence, half yearly intelligence, any kind of intelligence you want. The same framework is going to work out. So first, let's start with the uh, last month data. So MTD. So now we have dates MTD, which we can use for financial year, and we can use and I'll say calculate. I'm using the basic net here. I'm not using the MTD. Dates MTD. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another date function, which is dateadd, and this dateadd function also require continuous date. So sometime when you try to add a month or a date, and it start giving you error because dateadd requires a continuous dates, and that's why it doesn't give you the proper dates if you simply want to add. In sometime you give max date and you today, or you want to do some date and it does not work out. For that we have to use date as a data. You can watch videos which I have used, which I have given for data or data as data. Those two videos you can watch. Now I give a data. In the data I'm going to give a date. Instead of just giving the date, I use the data. In the date I'm going to say move it by -1 month. What I'm doing here is I'm doing the date at -1 month. So I'm moving my dates a month behind. So I'm giving the continuous date still, but what I've done is I moved my dates a month back. Moving the dates a month back is going to give me MTD, which is last month till date. You can see few issues when there is 30 and 31 days month, but most of the other cases is going to work fine. Now you can see that instead of starting from 13th of October, it has actually started from 13th of November, and it continue. It gives a total at the month end, and then it get reset. And then this is because of 30 and 31. Okay. And then it will continue next month, and then again it's going to, so 2 days is going to show the same value because the last month is only 30 days. Okay, same way it will continue. Now in this case, because both the months are 31, so there is no problem, the continuous things will happen. So we have moved our data, our dates, a month back. And then that's how we created LMTD, last month till date. Now there is one more function which is there, previous month. And let's see what does that do. Okay. Let me drag it here also so you can easily see this. Now here the number is matching. The reason being the last date versus the last date phenomena. Because it's a month behind, so it's going to search for the last date. It's going to get at the last date. So that's why you will see this is correct when you take it the month level, but it's not correct when you simply take it the date level. Now let's use previous month and see how it is different from you moving this MTD. Okay, so we go here and we see net previous. Again, we are going to use calculate net, not any of the time intelligence formulas. Now we are going to use the time intelligence function previous month date from the date table. Dates. A previous month is complete previous month. It is not like MTD, which is going to give you each and every date. Okay. So let me remove this net MTD1 for you. Okay. And let me bring in previous. So what do you see on the next month? You see the complete month is getting this particular value. Same way, here it is also the last month value. So here it doesn't seem like LMTD or net has some difference when we are talking, but when we look at the date level, it is showing us a difference that it is not the value day by day, it is the complete month value. So one thing which you have to remember that this is complete month value. Now we can do some more experiment with net and we can go few more months behind and ahead. And what we can do here is a little bit of trick, and let me show you that. Let's say you need the complete month value. Okay, this month value. Okay, net this. And what I'm going to do is in the previous month, I'm going to say date add 1 month. I'm adding a month to the previous month to bring it 1 month ahead. Previously we were moving it back, now I moved it 1 month ahead. And let me search net this and let me drag it here. Now what you see here is on each date of the month I am getting the value of this particular month, the 31st, and you started seeing all those dates from the first because those are applicable date on which it's going to give the data. And then in the November you got the November total, you got December total. So this is another way you can get this month's data. You want a, let's say with the MTD you want percentage of MTD, so you can do this little bit of trick by bringing in this month and do it instead of getting the MTD on the end of month. That's another way we can use end of month with MTD and get the month end value. So this is one more way. Now, but we have done one experiment. What happens when we don't pass any date? But before we do that, let me give you these two things. You try it out. Just think about this. What happens when previous date also doesn't get a value or previous month doesn't get a value? What is going to pick up? Is it going to take up the last date? True or false? We need to test. Okay. So we go to this page where we have this netmtd and we need to bring in netlmtd along with it. It's showing us some number. And let's bring in net previous. Let me make it as a card visual. It's a blank. Let me also bring net this. Make it as card visual. Both are blank. Anyone want to give a comment? We have done something very similar we used to do with mtd, Datesmtd. Still our previous is not correct. Why? So unlike Datesmtd, which takes the first date, previous takes the start. And to understand this, let's go back to our calendar. Which is the date table. And let me start it on the October. This is the first value we had. Okay. How did it got the first value? Because it takes that one. So when you don't provide the context to the previous, is going to take its context from the start date available, which is provided in the context. Right now calendar is only in the context. So digest this little bit. Now again we can take a date slicer. Let's take a date, or let's take a month here, and we will do some experiment and you will understand the difference. Now let me go down and take October 2020. Now you see the things, previous month is correct. Okay, I take September, and the reason is we have moved it from previous month to the next month. That's why the dates are not available for us to play around. That's why this one is not coming. But when you go to the September, this behaves correctly. Now let's do a little bit interesting thing. I select 2 months. Now you immediately see there's a difference. The previous is not same as last month till date. It's different. 66.48. Let's go here. Let's go here actually. Look at this data. This is 66 July. You have selected 2 dates. August. What is the previous month? July. From the first date. So the previous month, when we are using, we need to be aware how different the results going to be when date is not there in the context or range is there in the context. So these things we need to understand. Now you might ask that I don't need a total MTD. I don't need MTD. I just want to know on 13th of November, what was the value on 13th of October, and 14th I want the same value. So for that we use something known as trailing formula. And trailing is basically, we just simply say we move our dates a month back. So we create net trail 1 month. We can keep 1 month, 2 months, 12 months, and all those. Calculate net. And here we are not using any function. We are simply going to use dateadd, date of from the date table -1 minus month. and we can add this. Let me do one thing. Let me click on this visual and let me add it nearby. Now here you will see that the values are not increasing just like the one which is happening in the MTD last month till date. They're just increasing day by day. Same from the last month. 27, 21, 37, 28. 21, 37, 28. So this is trailing. Now, if you need last year same month or last year same date, trail by a year or Datesmtd minus 12 months. Okay, so I'll give you this formula and quickly add that formula and show it to you. Meanwhile, you can ask your questions. So for the last one, for the last year, what we can do is we can create one more measure. Net LYMTD, last year same month till date we want. So calculate net, and then we see date add, Datesmtd first of all. Date add, date from the date table, trail by minus 12 months. And we can add it, this in the visual. So for complete 1 year, you will not see any data. And then you will start seeing from here, from 13th October 2019. Same way, you will see the data here. If I drag it here, you will see the data in October 2019 first time. So a year back. Let me give you this formula. Now, same way we can do last quarter till date and previous quarter. I'm just going to give you the example of last quarter. Previous quarter, you can experiment. So meanwhile, you can ask your questions. You know, it's going to be really simple to get now last quarter till date. Net LQTD is nothing but calculate net dates QTD date add date from the date table, comma -1, comma quarter. Similarly, for last year, you can do 1 year. So for the one complete quarter, will not have data, and then we will get this data on 1st January 13th, 2019, directly in the next quarter. The same way, we can drag it here. We will not have data for one quarter. Next quarter only we will have data. So Datesqtd minus one quarter. So I don't see any questions. So let's proceed with same. Now for year, YTD is very simple. We are going to do that. Net LYTD, calculate net dates YTD, date add, date from the date table, comma -1, comma year. We are going to make it a year behind, dates YTD, and calculate. So you will not see any data till you reach the next year. But after the next year, it is not like MTD 1 month reset. It's going to be reset at the year end only. So reset will happen on 1st January for both. Now this is going to take the last year value. This is going to take this year value. YTD, this is LYTD. So we now know how to get YTD. Now, if I need to go back at trailing, if I want to trail, I have dateadd. Now we also have one more function on which we are going to experiment. So let's take this table. I'm going to copy this table, create a new page out here by pressing the plus button, and let me paste it here. Don't think it got copied properly. Copy visual, control paste. Okay, what I want is I want to trail by a year. So one thing which we have told you in this session itself is that we go date add, and all these functions, please make sure you are using date table. So trail, net trail of 1 year. So you'll say easily net, we take net, only net, and then we'll say date add, date from the date table, -1 minus year. But we have one more function with us. So let's scroll this and see first of all quickly. Now we have one more. Net last year same period, and you will know why I'm calling it like this. Calculate net same period last year is the function which we are going to use. And we're going to look at the advantage of this function. Now the period right now is day. So our expectation is that it should work on the date, and you see that it's working on the date. Now both of them will behave same even when we make it month. So let's copy this and paste this. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove date, and I'm going to bring in month here. So you will see that they behave almost on the similar manner when we say same period last year, because that is trailing by any year. This is also giving the same period on the last year. So period right now is month, so it's going to give you the month in the last year. So you know how you, when you want the TD values, how, what you need to do. When you want the periodic value, same periodic value, what you need to do. So this is what uh, I wanted to tell you about the standard time intelligence functions. So let me give you this last one also. This trail and same. We have for daily also we have something, and let's quickly look at it before we jump onto the, and not only we have previous one, we also have a next month also. So what we are doing only at the date level, let's try out that. Okay, so we bring in this data, we bring in the date, and we bring in net here. Now just like your previous, you also have a next month, next day, next quarter, next year. That also you can use. Let's try both those, previous and next day at the date level. Okay, so we call it previous day, and it is continuous previous day. It is not like, I don't have a date, then it is going to take that one. No, it's going to take the last date, the calendar date. Previous day, okay, so 1 day behind. And let's copy this and just going to do one more change here. Let me paste it while I'm doing that change to you, so that you can also try next day. Similarly, you might have seen it was suggesting next year also, next year, next month, next quarter. So now this is going to, previously was trailing, this is ahead, a day ahead. Okay, and then you can further use dateadd. So if you, let's say, want 2 day ahead, 3 day ahead, go ahead and use dateadd. Let's say this previous day, I want 2 days behind, or let's say 7 days behind. You can subtract another 6 days from it. Already 1 day behind. Dateadd, comma -6, comma day. So in the previous, I'm giving dateadd of 6 days. So 6 days it is making it behind. 1 day previous day is going to make. So total I'm expecting it should go 7 days behind. Okay, previous weekday I'm going to call it. Same weekday. 364, same weekday last year. Okay, so we had it on 13th, now we got it on 20th. That's the row which we got. That's the value which we had. So in this manner, you can move The last year also same weekday 364. In the trailing, instead of one minus 1 year, say minus 364 days. That is also possible. So in that manner you can get last year's same week day. This is last week same weekday. So try this out. Let me also give you the next day. While you're trying, let me save the file and let's check, is there any question? And now we are going to jump on interesting part, week. We don't have standard functions for that. And what I'm saying is, if you follow that process, you will be able to get time intelligence for any custom period. So let's understand what is that, which is going to make us do that. So we need to go to our date table. In the date table, let's look at what we have for week. So we have this week rank. Okay. So week rank, why we have created this week rank? The week rank ensures, and let me sort it on dates. Week rank is going to ensure that, that we have the continuous ranks and we simply do -1 and we are going to get it. Okay. And this is based on the week start date. Okay. So we have this week start date, which is basically, let's go ahead and look at it. Now, challenge could happen because if we are using the min or some function which is not giving us the correct week start date, it would be a little bit challenging. So let's look at what is week start date we have. This week start date. Our calendar is starting from 10. Okay, and let's go ahead and check, is it a Monday or not? So we need to make sure our calendar is correct. 2018 October, 1st October is also a Monday. That's good. That's calendar is right. Okay, and this is the first week. Now, because we have changed our calendar 2-3 times, we have moved around, so we need to make sure. Now, this is the one thing which is going to help us week rank this week versus last week. And the second thing which we need is a weekday, which is going to help us in WTD, week till date. For any custom period, you need the week rank, and then you also need the day of that period for have period till date, WTD. So let's first do it with a week and try to replicate that with something else. So we bring in dates first of all. Create an altogether new visual, and we are going to talk about net here. And you want to bring this week. And let's talk about, when we are talking about week, we can also talk about, let's say, do we have a year week also here? We have a year week also. Let's talk about the net of that. Okay, so this is the week value. Now, how do I get this week versus last week? And we have to also ensure that when I use any other dimension, this should work. It should not that when I use brand, I'm still getting the complete week. I should get it brand wise. That also we need to check. So we need to do few testing. So I say this week. Why I'm creating this week? Anyway, you're getting this week, but for the testing. Okay. So we'll say calculate. First argument is net. Now the second important thing start. Now here we are going to use filter. We're going to say remove all the filters from the date. We don't want anything. And then we say, then we do a comparison, and I'm removing it from date table. Date week rank is equal to, and we are using week rank because when we go to the last year, is it 20 53rd week or 52nd week, who's going to take care about that? So we say now week rank should be equivalent to the week rank which is available in the row now in the context, and the context is not available now, its filter is not available. It's going to go and take it from the slicer. If it is not available in the slicer, it's going to go ahead and take it from your calendar. Same way Datesmtd last date max, we are taking last date. Okay, so till that it is going to go. So now let's take, so from the context, take the date and bring us this week. This is, and now this is actually, okay, there's something wrong here. Let's see what happened. Date of date, there's no value coming in. Let's check it out. Let's check the formula. Filter or date, week rank equal to max of date, max of week rank. So we have to compare it with the week rank. Week rank available in the context. It's not about the date. So we have corrected this. Now this is this week. Now that's why this is complete week. We have not talked about, if you want the last week, you can take the date of this week. So complete week, same value. So here you can see this is working correctly. Now how do I get the last week? Very simple. Now this is continuous rank, so there is no problem. Copy this formula as is and do one change, you will get the last week. So we create a new formula which is last week, and only difference we do is when we say you are equal to the max of rank, we say add a -1 here. I'm subtracting it, and if you want you can put additional braces to make sure these two are in one, like this. Let's say go back. So okay, we know where you have your week in the context. Just go a week behind. Very simple stuff. You got this week versus last week, and you can see on the right hand side we are a week behind. I'm going to give you these formulas, you can practice it, you can answer your questions. Same thing is true for any custom period. You need to have a rank which is going to enable you to do that. And let me quickly create one more example where we go and check it along with the brand. While you are trying that out, we just wanted to make sure, then when we have year and when we have brand, it is not that it should give us with the shift. I'm going to press it so that both get sorted, and I'm going to this week. By mistake I removed the year week. Let me sort it again with the shift. Let me sort it again. So now you can see that the brand one here, this value, this is only brand one value. Okay, it's not the value which is there. And let's compare it with the help of net. Actually, we maybe showing the more value or less value. Let's put it net. So this is working. So that's why we keep a separate date table. So when we use this all, when we use these context, it should not disturb the other dimension. And that's where another importance of star schema comes in. Then when you are making sure you are using all or all selected, or you're removing certain things from the context to create these kind of things, then the other dimensions are not getting impacted. So that's why we have this separate dimension. That's why we have this star schema model where we are able to create these kind of combinations. So this is there. This I want to explain that it's working for a brand also. You don't have to bother about it. And that's where whenever you need, have a separate, if you cannot have a date table, you only have week, year, you don't want to create date out of it, Have a separate week year table, create a rank, and then use it. You need to make sure that you have a separate table. That's very important. And you have the distinct values, means you have the unique year week values, and you're going to create on rank on that if it is a week year table or year week table. And rank can be created on year week. The sorting plays a role. Ascending rank, we have created it in the last class. Those of you who has not watched the last class and might be thinking how this year week rank is coming, or the how do we got the week start date, please watch the last class completely. You will get all those answers. Now time for us to create week till date, and let's call it week. Let's this is our this is where we are going to create WTD, week till date. Now for week till date, the formula is going to be very similar to this one. So let me again create it for everybody's understanding. Net WTD, calculate net and then we are going to have filter all date week rank equals to max of week rank. This is going to give me week. Now what's the difference? And week day, and we have to make sure we take it from date table. We have few tables out here. Here it is not going to be equal. It is going to be less than and equal to weekday. Weekday. Let's bring in here. So now what's happening? Look at this. This is 21. Let me make it near to this one. 15, 21 added 36 added. So this week got reset because we have a week has started on 1st, 8th and 15th is a reset. Now from 15th you will see adding till 21st, 22nd is a reset, a week. Okay, so this is week till date. What is last week till date? Oh, no difference in the weekday, only difference is in the week rank. So we got week till date. So we use the rank, we say equal to week, and then we say weekdays less than equal to weekday. So we are able to sum it up weekdays. So that's how we are able to do it. Now for the last week till date, same formula is going to work out. Only difference is going to be this -1. And if you want, you can put a parenthesis and has a priority which is lower than this one, so it should work even if you don't give. But let's bring it here, and you got this last week till date. It will keep on working like that. These two, and then it is keep on adding. So we got this one. Now same is true for any custom period. Like we created this calendar last time. Let's go back and let me give you this formula while you are experimenting with this. Let's look back our calendar. This is the last item we will cover on this day today. So let's look back our calendar. It's not joined, but we have to understand this. Okay. So what this has is basically based on the week, we have this week and month. And if you look at the month start dates, so our month start date is 1st, then it start on 29, then it's on 26th, 23rd, 26th. This is not going to work out with you. Just simply if you want to create, you even cannot have MTD here. This month, last month, you cannot have it. So what do you need here is You got the first very good thing in this table is we got this month start date. Okay, now this calendar is not joined with our date calendar first of all. So we are going to join this date with the sales date. It should create a one-to-many join. Second, it is not marked as a calendar date table. So we mark it as a date table also. Right click on the table, mark as date table, mark as date table. Date is the column. Validation successfully means each dates are unique. Now we need a week, we need a rank, and we need a day. So I'm going to create new columns. I'm not going to enhance this calendar. Just going to add new columns. So we have made sure two things. There is a join, and the table is date table. So I'm going to call it as month rank, and I'm not going to call it month rank. Let me call it period rank. It's not month. And period rank is nothing but rank X, this 445 table, and the month start date in this table. Just to make sure we are taking the correct one. We have so many month start date with us. Ascending order and dense. We want the ranks to be continuous. 111 after 28, 222, 333. Seems fine. For display purpose, we need one more thing, which is year period or something like that. Now, little bit tricky, and let's do it like this. Now, here, year cannot be just like your year. So we have this year 1, 2, 3, 4, and these month period here. So we have to create a little bit in a tricky way. Okay. Year period. Okay. Now these years cannot be continued because end date and this one. So we say, okay, this is year 1. Okay. So we say Y, and we say ampersand format year. This table, let's take it at 2 places. Then ampersand the ampersand format month number comma format 00. Let's see. We got this year period now, period 2, period 3, year 1, and it should keep on going like this. Okay, then let's look at it. Started a new year here somewhere here. So after period 13, it will start period 1 here. So this is new period. Okay. A week number start from 0. Okay, remember that. That's why we is 52 is just not because we knowingly kept it like that. So we got this week rank, period rank, we got year period for display, and we need now day of period to create this one. Day of period equals to date if what is the smaller date, start date of the month, comma date, comma day plus 1. 28, and let's see, are we getting anything more than 28? No. Perfect. Okay, so let me give you these columns so that you can try out. Let me save the file also so that those of you not able to get it can keep the file. Our link of the file is remaining same since the first class. I'll give you that link in the chat window, end of the class. Now we have everything. for a custom period to give us the time intelligence. Okay. Now let's quickly create a new page from this calendar 444. Let's drag year period. Let's drag net and check is the join correct. Seems like numbers are correct. Grand total seems correct. Okay, now quickly start doing this period in WTD. This period, calculate net, filter all, of which 444. And what we have rank in this one? Period rank equals to max of period rank we got this period. Shouldn't be anything different from the other one. And you will not get these grand totals. Now there is, because ultimately at the grand total level, it's again go ahead and calculate based on the date available. So that's why you're not going to get it. Your calendar, this calendar again have its own last date, and there from there it's going to calculate. So the grand total will not come, or grand total, even if it comes, it will be the last period or the whatever is satisfying that condition. Now this period is done. Now last period. Last period is same. Calculate net all of the calendar period rank, max of calendar period rank, and we do a -1 out. Last period. So just one trailing. Now, if you need period till date. Now to understand period till date, we need to bring in date. With the date, we need to bring in net. Okay. And now our this period formula is going to work well with us. So we just copy paste it. And we create a new measure. And we will call it period till date. Let's call it net period till date. Now this is going to remain same. The additional clause which we need here is, let's give a space here, and day of period is less than and equal to max of day of period. Close this, close filter, close calculate, press enter. Now to understand period till date, where it is going to reset, actually, we need to go ahead and find out where actually the reset is happening for that. Okay, so we go to our calendar, or even if you don't go to calendar, let's bring in one more thing. It's easier if we bring in this year period. Okay, so you see this is the 11th period. So where is the 11th period? This is the 11th period. It's ending on 4th and then it's starting here. So it's a reset here. Let's look at period 13. Starting here, there is a reset here. Similarly, you can create your own quarters, your own year till year of day of year, day of quarter, and you can get this custom time intelligence going. Very simple stuff. You just need to make sure this, and this is going to work. Now this, if you want, you can go ahead and check it out. This will work with brand, this will work with state and all those. So let me give you these formulas. You try out. You have a chance to ask your last set of questions. We have learned time intelligence not only using the standard one, we have used the non-standard one. And this is not that you can only use it for non-standard period. Even for standard period, you want your custom time intelligence, you don't want to use the existing time intelligence functions. Same way, just have the rank, just have the date. You can do it, use it for standard months, you can use it for your financial year. And same way, when you have the quarters which are non-standard quarter, the quarter which is starting in February, March, the quarter which is starting in May, June, how do you going to do it quarter on quarter? How are you going to do it quarter till date? Same way, everywhere you're going to do the same formula you are going to use. Just get the rank, just get the period date, you're going to get that all stuff. These are measures. Previous three which we have created were column. Now you have PTT, period till date. These are the formulas. Last minute for asking questions. We are going to wrap it up as we are not seeing any questions. I don't see any questions. Thanks for participating in today's live class. We are going to wrap it up. You can continue to post your question on this video or any of the videos on the channel which you watch. You can post your questions, and we will I will try to answer those questions. I've stopped sharing. I'm wrapping up this meeting. Thank you, everyone.